Are you introducing or me? I'll introduce.
All right, here we are once again. I am Shirley Gutkowski, the owner of Primal Air, and I am here today again with Victoria DaCosta, and we are going to be talking about going upstream, and that means to kind of go to where the problem begins and use our intelligence of, following things upstream and going where's the real problem at and where's the problem beginning. And our little tagline, open wide, is more about the eyes than it is in the mind, than it is about the mouth. And so I am the owner of Primal Air, a myofunctional therapy practice here in Sun Prairie. We do things virtually and in person. So if you're snoring and whatnot, please feel free to give us a ringy dingy. And Victoria, go ahead. Who are you and why are you here?
Well, kind of along the same lines as the snoring and the dysfunction of the wellness in the whole dental care industry. A dental hygienist myself, working in a non-clinical environment. Dr. Links is my business, and I invented a system called dental medical thermography infrared imaging. And so what we have is taking infrared images on the patients in the dental chair, showcasing where their blockages are and nerve damages are beginning to contribute to snoring or to contribute to blocked airway or contribute, believe it or not, if you're chewing wrong on the teeth, it could actually decrease your vision, decrease your smell, and
It's
decrease your hearing
crazy.
and affect your digestion. So, oh my, dentistry, I guess, is involved in the medical industry, isn't it, Shirley? So, what we're going to do is talk about this menu upgrade, and I want to introduce Fernando Gonzalez, a special guest of ours today, this morning. I met Fernando this last winter, and what we're discussing is the need and the need for the message to get out in the dental and the medical communities that the body is one whole and we can work together and be productive. And this whole scope of practice is real, but we can also collaborate on what Shirley calls, and I agree, shared domain. And Fernandez, being a marketing expert, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us about your background and how you got involved in the marketing and what kind of changes you've seen in the last few years in the marketing and selling information.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been in marketing for nearly a decade now, and
Mhm.
I first started when I was doing e-commerce. So that's where I started, is doing e-commerce, drop shipping specifically. So this is where I would set up an entire brand, and I would be selling products from China. So essentially, what I would do, being drop shipping, is that I would link up with the supplier. I would post their products on my store, on my storefront, be completely branded, and I would stay with the profit margin. Right. So the orders that were placed in my store would go directly to the to the supplier, and from there they would ship out the order to the customers. I would never see it. So that's what initially got me started in marketing, and I did that for a few years until 2020 happened. We all know what happened that year. And because of that, there was nothing coming out of China anymore. So I really had to pivot. And from there, I found the best way to utilize my skills was to go into marketing for other companies. Now, it did start with bars, restaurants, lounges, sort of thing. And from there, I was able to run a lot of campaigns for them, but eventually ended up switching to generating leads. And the reason for that was because it was very hard to quantify the results and the spend that I was getting from these clients, right? So I would run all kinds of campaigns, but it was very hard to prove exactly how it was bringing a return for those businesses. Now, as opposed to bringing leads, which I'm doing now, people can very easily see the names, the numbers, the emails of all the people that they're contacting and who they're closing. So it makes a lot of sense when they're paying me and they could very easily see the results and where all the money's coming from, where it's going, and sort of thing. So, what was that? I
You're
think you're
muted.
muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry, I had a plane fly over. Um, I think I had a question for you, but go ahead. Go ahead. I'll ask you.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's pretty much how long I've been in it and what got me into it. Yeah.
Well, the I don't know, and we talked a little bit before we started our podcast about have you had a chance to review dental websites?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely had to look at a few dental websites. Um,
And can we get
mhm.
your just feedback? Okay, honest feedback from an expert.
Well, the first thing, with my background in marketing, the first thing that I see is that there's just way too many buttons. It's kind of confusing for visitors to exactly where to go. So now, I never suggest making any changes until you really know your data. So, like, what are your conversion rates and what are people clicking on and where are they spending the most time? And there's lots of tools that you can use to figure out that data with. Um, the first one that comes to mind is very easy. It's free. It's called Google Analytics. It's a tool by Google, of course.
Mhm.
Um, and that'll help you really figure out your data. And once you know your data of, okay, people are going to this page, this is how many people I'm getting to this page, this is where they're coming from, and this is how many people are actually converting. And by converting, I mean like your goal. What's going to be your goal on the website, right? Well, from what I saw, the biggest goal that these websites had is to book an appointment for whatever it may be. I clicked on the appointment buttons, they show up a date, they have me fill out my name and my email, and that's pretty much it. That seems to be the biggest goal. Now, seeing that, what I would do and what I would like to test, it's not like I would do something right away and look, this is going to work. It's
Mhm.
everything you have to test, of course. Now, I would just break everything down, make everything disappear, and just turn it into, okay, this is what you're gonna fill out because you wanted to see a dentist. So it's just going to be maybe 2, 3 questions to really personalize the experience for the user, but also to really guide the user and make them feel like you you're offering something specifically tailored to them. So they answer the 3 questions, and after the 3 questions, they input their name, their email, their phone number, and then, of course, they select the date and time for their appointment. And that would be the entire focus. Essentially, building a landing page just for dentist websites. And I would
Mhm.
split test that against the regular website. So that's the biggest thing. There's just too many buttons, too many places to go, too many distractions.
Yeah, do you hear that, Shirley? He would split the message. So there would be the merchandise services on one area, right, Fernando? And the other would be the appointment, not put it in together, mix it.
Well, I would split test all of the traffic. So that's
Mhm.
another thing too. It depends where your traffic is coming from. So if your all of your traffic is coming from paid advertising, or it depends for one, it depends the goal of those ads. Are you trying to get consultations for braces, for example, or are you trying to get consultations for cleaning? Either way, you're not going to send that traffic to just a regular website, right? You're going to send them to a landing page that's very specifically tailored to that service. So again, the campaign that's wants to, or you want to generate leads having to do with braces, you send them to that landing page that only talks about braces, the benefits, how they work, all the details about them. But that's going to be it. And the only call to action, the only button anywhere on that page is going to be the button that's going to allow people to book an appointment. And then, of course, you can have your qualifying questions on the form once they click that button.
Well, you're saying be specific. Um,
Right.
and I see a lot of messages on dental websites because we want to make sure that they know we have all these services, cosmetic, braces, dental sleep. How does that confuse the buyer?
There's just so many places to click. Now, there's um, a lot of data tracking tools, and I use these for all of my clients. And you would think that the more options you have, the more engaged users would be, but really,
Right.
people really don't look at that at all. They just browse through and click what's easy, unless they're very, very specifically looking for a very specific service. Now, where you can help these people out is in the consultation. So that's why I'm suggesting like you guide everyone to an appointment, right? And then once they make it to that appointment, that's when you can really start to sell. It's kind of like really any type of salesperson, right? When you
Mhm.
first meet them, you have to kind of ask them questions, discover what they're really after. And that's when you sit them down and you talk to them, have a whole entire conversation, discussion with them to help them figure out what they need. Because for all we know, whoever books an appointment on a website with all the options that we have now, for one thing, could really need another thing, but they're not going to know that unless they speak with the actual professional, right? So that's why we're trying to increase that conversion rate of the appointment setting because the dentist, the doctor is going to be the one who's going to be able to help them out by having a conversation with them.
It's interesting that you say that because most of the high-end doctors do that. When you want an appointment with a certain type of a doctor, they don't really advertise a lot of their services. They might mention a little bit about them and their background, but the whole goal and focus is with that relationship with the doctor and their services in a consultation. So
Yeah.
that's what's missing in dentistry. I can see that clearly. My next question would be, uh, and say dentists will hear this podcast. What is social media and what does it mean? We hear this all the time. Get your word out on social media, and I know in my generation, social media started out with Facebook, and that was it. Now we
Yeah.
have so much more, and Facebook hardly even is talked about anymore. So it's there, but what do you recommend for um, the steps of, I guess, organizing and or looking at the overall business model? I think using social media, because right now the services that are offered in dentistry are the same services offered 50 years ago.
Hmm.
We haven't upped the game, and we are looking at people who are starving for services that mean something for their daily care. And the daily care services are being advertised by toothpaste commercials or mouthwash commercials. I
Hmm.
get they want to sell their products, but the dental office, in my experience, has the education to guide the person to the right product just fit for them. And how can we, using social media, accomplish that? Or do you have a direction how to get dental offices not be afraid to
Hmm.
shift into services that they think that they haven't seen work or insurances pay for? Because I believe people will pay out of pocket 50 or 60, $70 more to get what they want at this appointment
Hmm.
using social media. That's my thing.
So this, from everything that I've seen, when social media first came out, and unfortunately some companies still do this, is people treated social media like a billboard or a magazine, right? They just put their advertisements up there. That's all people thought that it was, just another place for people to browse through services and things like that. Well, social media was created to bring people together for networking, right?
Socialize, yeah.
Exactly. And it really changed the entire way we socialize. So I think the best way to do it now is just do exactly that. I would suggest handing it off to the staff and have them create fun and engaging videos. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be all about the products and the services and everything, but just fun. Like, what's life like in the office? And I would suggest making it something like what an about us page would be, except making it fun. And every now and then you can create videos about the services, but even then, making those fun and engaging, and not necessarily um, making it very corporate and telling people this is what we do, this is how much it is, and that's it. Yeah, it's got to be fun and engaging.
That's it almost feels like less threatening, because
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
they hear dentistry, they think pain, or they think money, it's too expensive, or I don't have insurance since I can't go.
Hmm.
But yet, right, Shirley, they'll spend $200 or $300 on a monitor for a TV.
Yep.
So we really have an opportunity to reface or remake the dental industry fun and inviting and wellness. And look at all the commercials, and they always say they know an American on an international in an international feel or exposure when they have white teeth, because in other countries they don't focus on the smile as much as Americans do.
Hmm.
and teeth. We're crazy about our teeth and our smile look. And we hardly accept anybody that's missing a front tooth to hire them to, be at the cash register.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So how can we use all of this to the benefit of dentistry? How, I guess my question, and jump in, Shirley, how do we, one of the fears that Shirley and I always are up against with dentists is, how am I going to make money? How is
Mhm.
what your service is going to do make us an income? We're used to making an income this way. How do we make an income using your new services? What do you suggest?
Making income for dentists, right? And their new services.
Right, right. Their
Okay.
overall business. Uh-huh.
Well, it's going to be just what I mentioned earlier. It's going to be tracking your data and figuring out where they're coming from. And I
Mhm.
think the new services don't necessarily need to be talked about on the website or social media. It's going to be the same thing. Just continue to drive more traffic to the website, and on the
Okay.
website, you drive people to the appointment setting. But if it really is a huge and spectacular service that you want people to know about, then the best thing I would suggest is to ask the people who actually experience that service. See if they'd be comfortable to give a testimonial on video.
There you
And
go.
you would put those all together and continue making those and turn those into fun videos and
There
make
you
it
go.
exciting, make it engaging. Because what you said earlier, I didn't really consider, but I think it's right, is that a lot of people do have kind of a fear of dentists. They don't like going to the dentist. I've heard it for a long time. It's like I think now it's a common joke that everybody knows about, like, oh, I hate going to the dentist. And we can these days, that's going to be the best way to change it, is for more offices to make it fun and engaging and to really show the environment, show the staff in these offices having fun and enjoying themselves, even making videos with the clients if the patients if they're comfortable with it. And I think that's going to be a good way to turn it around. Um,
There's your
and yeah,
social.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, it's going to be the best way to promote those services is if it is a service that you really do want to promote.
It sounds like what you're offering is a shift um, of how they of a mindset. Whereas, when they would hire someone to do their marketing for their business, all the information is put on the website. All the
Yeah.
services, there's no thought about what you were just talking about, like get in the 21st century and packages, maybe throw 3 carrots on there to say, we offer these types of, appointments, being fun, just saying, I mean, look at the people that sell facials
Hmm.
and they sell, massages. I mean, I really believe that the dental industry right now has an opportunity. We sell fresh breath,
Yeah, yeah.
or we
Or good
sell,
dates. That's a
yeah,
different way to look at it too. You could sell good dates because if your breath stinks, it's gonna be a bad date.
yeah, exactly. Or we help, you digest that turkey dinner. I mean, it's just so many angles, I guess, we're not looking at that are just sitting there waiting to be picked fruit, that they're just kind of stuck in this fear of change, right, Shirley? They're stuck in a fear of change, of the
That's part
method.
of it. And so here's some of the background information. Dentistry is looked at as a redheaded stepchild of medicine. And I think that many dentists that have a creative bend um, are looked at as not serious and they can't be very good dentists. So I
Mhm.
think that's what scares a lot of guys, mostly, well, it's 50-50 now. Oh, my volume isn't up. How about that?
It's a little low still.
Still?
Hmm.
Hold on. Oh, I see what the problem is. How about that?
Much better.
Okay. So when we have dentists, and they're usually men that are in this way of thinking that try to be fun and try to be exciting, they're looked upon by other dentists as crazy people and not serious.
Mhm.
So Dr. Kammer here in the Madison, Wisconsin area
is very, very pushing the envelope and has been for probably 30 years or more that he's been a dentist. We have a, what is it called when you play baseball, but you're not in the major leagues yet, the double A's or whatever, or whatever.
Minors, yeah.
So he did a root canal on home plate one year. And he got a lot of press from that. He also sang for, what is that singing contest? Not The Voice, the one before The Voice. So he went and he put himself out there as the singing dentist, and he wore this sparkly suit, and he wore a 6-foot toothbrush, and then it had like a confetti cannon out of the back of it. You know, I don't want to throw anybody out of the under the bus, but he, you know, he's not thought of as being a very serious person. He is a very serious person, and he has done some really spectacular things. And he is the originator of the AAOH, which is the American Association for Oral Systemic Health. He has now developed a dental practice that is no fill, no shots. And so that goes against everything in dentistry. So he's a complete envelope pusher. So those are the kind of the back here kind of things with respect to dentists and being creative and having ads on their website about first dates and stuff like that. I think it's really good advice, but it's hard for a lot of these guys to get their heads around it. But I think they have to push. I think they just have to be like Dr. Cameron, just push yourself out there and be not stodgy, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Even then, I think, well, you tell me what you think, because I'm thinking that even if the doctors don't want to start pushing this type of content, things like that, they don't necessarily have to, because what they can do is have their team do it. A lot of times from what I've seen is that it's the staff that they love doing that stuff anyway. Besides, I think that the staff is going to make it a little bit more entertaining than the doctors can.
Well, that's why your approach isn't taking the seriousness out of the services, but you're actually saying we're people that care about you and we want to help, and we're not to be feared. We're inviting you into an environment that's safe. And that's when we can talk about listening to what they want and being heard.
Right.
The biggest complaint I hear, Fernando, is, well, I didn't want that, but they did it anyway. I didn't want that filling and they put it in my tooth and now I have problem. Or, you know, there's always a disconnect of not being heard. And the professional says, looks at, you know, their data and says, you need this, you need that, you need this. And the patient sitting in the chair, you know, kind of feeling intimidated. And what we have here is a patient that doesn't feel like they have a voice. What if we turned it around in the marketing and said, you have a voice before you even get in. We're going to listen to you. You're the customer. You're hiring us to do the work attitude. And what a difference that would make in the healthcare, in the well care industry. And we see that in the well care industry more so than the regular, what they call regular medicine approach. What are your thoughts, Fernando, on that?
That's going to be hard to do. If you're just making videos with the team and the doctor and everything, it's kind of going, it's similar to being on the website and reading the About Us page. But where you can prove that very easily, something I mentioned earlier, is where you're making those videos with the patients. You know, just like on Google, you go on there and you see other reviews, or on Yelp. That's what people trust. People trust the reviews of other people. So if you want to bring that over to social media through video and everything, that's going to be the way to do it, is by being on video with them. Now, obviously, you have to find people who are comfortable with it, who don't mind it, and who have that personality, who's going to be good on camera. But that, seeing happy customers on video on your social profile, then I think that'll speak the message that you're talking about now to others who watch that video.
Well, I can see this taken off. I mean, it's a formula, it sounds like, that could be repeatable for all the dental practices, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely something that you can make an SOP out of, at least the basic guidelines, the
Mhm.
basic foundations. Now, as far as the creative, now that's something that I don't think should be ha should have its own SOP, because that's something creativity is something that should be fun and kind of um, work, just work your creativity and something for the staff to do and do their own fun videos with. I know there's lots of trends out there and people make videos off of trends. Now that's obviously that's a good thing to do, but you also definitely want to make sure to create your own fun and engaging videos in whatever you see fit. It could be uh, pranks between the coworkers if that's something everybody's open to. Maybe it could be gifts or birthdays in between the coworkers, surprises for the coworkers. There's a whole lot of things that you can do, and it's just that, just creative freedom, I think is going to really help people out here.
And basically what you're saying is see them as human beings.
Yeah. No,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. That's
And
going to be able to
yeah,
convey that message instead of seeing dentists as evil people who just want to harm people.
put sharp needles in their body.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because the dental hygiene profession now, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but they just passed a bill where dental assistants can now clean teeth. Did you
No
know
way.
that? Shirley, did you hear that bill got passed? And
In
there,
Nevada? No, it fell off.
well, I don't know about Nevada, but I just heard it from someone here in Nevada that it got passed. So we'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
But
we'll look
my
into
point,
that.
yeah, my point being is
So
that the dental hygiene profession, which we're so passionate about, really needs marketing messages. We have our association, but we really haven't had an identity or a brand inside a dental practice because of the fear of the competition or the stealing of patients, or there's all kinds of mixed messages. I think we can work together and collaborate. We have our role as a dental hygienist. The dentists have their role, the dental assistants have their role, the front office manager, the running the businesses have their role. And and really in the dental hygiene identity, from what I have tried to my best to develop is the clinical aspect and the non-clinical aspect of our role, and helping to balance out the wellness aspect of care. And if that, care is balanced out with, it's almost like the nurturing area of the business, and you have the actual treating could also be, the as well in a well care environment. I feel like right now the way that the system is set up, there's no clear message about the role of a dental hygienist identity and the purpose of a dental hygienist in a dental practice. If the dental assistant's allowed to clean teeth, then the real understanding of the purpose of these dental hygiene programs in schools and universities and education and anatomy and all the things we go through to become a dental hygienist is not really understood by the dental industry. How can we, work on that identity with marketing as well? Do we, it's a whole nother topic for another podcast, but there is a problem inside the business of dentistry. And I think what you're saying is right now is to solve the first problem is do the socializing and the videotapes of what a dental hygienist. Hi, I'm the dental hygienist in the business, and this is my, and this is what I do. And
Mhm.
this, everyone has branded their ID with these videos, and so that a consumer coming into an environment knows over here I'm going to in this department I'm going to get this care. It's like going into a department store. There's a kitchen area, there's the electronic area there, but they're in the store, and let them choose where they
Right.
want to spend their money. That's kind of how I see the business of dentistry.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But as you were saying that about how you can really convey that message,
Yeah.
you did obviously that's what I was going to suggest is videos, but it's also how you go about it, right? So obviously you can just sit on camera and say everything you need to say, or you can make it engaging in creative ways. Like for example, you can have the staff. Um, it'll show video walking through the office into the room of the dental hygienist and saying, "Hey, so people are saying a hygienist is this and this. Is that true?" And then maybe that could be something completely made up, right? Whatever the first person
Right.
says. And
Mhm.
then the hygienist could correct the person and say, no, actually, hygienist is A, B, and C.
Mhm.
It's all about how you hook the audience and you can convey that message in an engaging way, right? It's so earlier I was talking about the data on the websites that I have for my clients, and so what I see is that the websites, a lot of times I completely overhaul websites, and the first thing I do is simplify everything because when I look at the data, people skip over everything. We could see, so there's things called heat maps on websites, so we can see where users are engaging, they're clicking, and where they're just not scrolling to at all. And also, of course, how much time they spend when they are wherever they are on the website. And wherever there's a whole lot of text, they don't even look at it, really. They scroll through it and that's it. A lot of times, if there's too many options, they just don't even click anything and they just leave. And that if they go to a landing page or any type of website, any web page rather, and they leave right away, that's called a bounce. So that you have your bounce rate. So a high bounce rate is something you don't want. Low bounce rate is something that you want to continue to, well, you just want to continue to get that bounce rate lower and lower. Now, when you simplify websites and you take more things away and you make things easier to read by having shorter sentences, or maybe they're not even sentences, they're just points, you have a lower bounce rate. Now you have more people engaged in your website, and those people will be more likely to convert and book an appointment. So that's what I've seen. So it's just simplifying everything, making it engaging.
You know what? And that to me is the future. I can totally see this because I had a case that I worked on. I took her scan, and she has a class 3 malocclusion, Shirley. So you can imagine where her jaw sits when she chews most of her life. Over time, the ligaments that are attached into the chewing jaw joint going down the neck to her shoulders and her hips were beginning to contract. Now she has this in her 70s pain so much she can hardly walk. And it all stems back from when she was in her probably 50s or even a couple car accidents that aggravated the position of the joints and the bones. And then the nerves started to become compressed and the pain came. And she didn't realize that low back pain after I took her infrared, her, DMT infrared imaging, that back pain came from her chewing wrong all those years.
Wow.
And she also was tongue tied, and she also had a swollen tongue, and her airway was very limited. So she had lack of oxygen when she was breathing. All of these areas could have been seen in a dental environment way before she had pain and way before she has a walker.
They were seen, but they weren't put together.
Yes.
That's the problem. It wasn't, there was no professional curiosity. Sorry. But I mean, that should be a lead line for a lot of these dental offices. Does your
On the
dental office
website.
have professional curiosity? We do, because you're right. Her chewing problem was started when she was in her teens.
Teens.
Why wasn't that addressed for her whole life on the planet?
And here she's suffering now in her late 70s and she's in so much pain. And so what I see is these, websites or whatever showing images or videos. And I saw one chiropractor show a skeleton and how it was all connected. And it was fun to watch. It was on TikTok. And I watched it, it was only 3 minutes, but it engaged me. And I thought for the dental industry to make these shifts, they need the videos, they need the explanations right up front. Do you have back pain? How do you chew your almonds? I mean, make it fun, but say, you know what? I chew almonds every day. That's right, I do have back pain. And, these little bits of information will be like Shirley was talking about, collaboration and I think there's just so much potential to collaborate. That's where Dr. Links comes in that I'm trying to work with, DRLINXS, and tried to be, the links between the collaboration of the professionals to say that, if you have back pain, yes, you can see the chiropractor, but the dental part is the main part, in my opinion, from what I see on these scans, the triggers. And so that's where the message for the consumer to say, I can be fixed and this is how, or I can be, heard and my pain can be addressed. And I don't have to figure this, I'm not by myself anymore. That's how I see the marketing message is that we'll hold your hand. But what are your thoughts, Fernando? And I know we're getting up against your time commitment here, but what could we do in dentistry to get these types of messages across? Is it once again lead them into booking the appointment and showing them at the appointment these videos or some teasers on the website, maybe?
Well, something like that, you're much more likely to reach a much larger audience if you're posting this type of stuff on social media. And that type of stuff I really would push on social media because I think that's something that people really should know about. I've never heard about it. I never knew that was a possibility. So yeah, that's you really got to find a way to start pushing that. And so some things that you can do is you can make the entire same video, let's say it's like a minute long,
Uh-huh.
but what you do is you can post it 5 or more times, except the first 3, 5, up to maybe 10 seconds are going to be different. So your hook is going to be different. So you can test lots of different variations of how you introduce hook people into that video. And then you keep on trying different variations. Eventually, you're going to find a hook that works, and you're going to be able to use that same hook on every different video, informational video of things like this that you want to share. But of course, you're always going to want to continue testing. But doing it this way, you you allow yourself to reach more audience. You can test which hooks are going to work the best, and over time, you're going to find out the ones that do work the best, and you're going to continue to grow your audience at a much faster rate that way. But I think it's very important. Like at this point, you guys pretty much have a duty to share this stuff to the public, right? That they really need to know.
It is a duty,
That's
and
how
that's
we look at it. Yep.
yeah, a mission. Mission possible. And so Fernando, where can people find you? Because I know when if I was a dentist and I heard this and I think, well, where can I hire you? Because the
Yeah,
web right now, I'll tell you right now, Fernando, the main, and this is the truth, and Shirley will back me on this. The dentistry says, I need a website. So they call somebody or somebody calls somebody and they get a graphic designer. The graphic designer puts the information. What do you want it? What's your content? I'm always asked, well, what
yeah,
content? I never once asked marketing questions, just content. It's almost like taking a living
That's a
room,
good point.
just throwing all the furniture into the living room. And now I got to figure out how to navigate around this couch and between these tables and chairs. All you wanted me to is just put the furniture in the house and not place it. And these graphic designers have zero marketing, zero. And if they do have marketing, they don't listen. I've worked with some of these graphic designers that say they're marketing, and I tell them just what I said to you. And I never heard them say, well, that's an important message. You need to get that out. I hear, well, I don't know anything about it. Just give me some more content. They skip
yeah,
over. And
yes.
so then it drops dead. And then when I'm out in the public talking about this, they say, well, where can I find you? Do you have a website? Do you have a card? They automatically want to be driven traffic-wise into this environment to find out more information. So what I would propose is, that plant the seed, right, Shirley? We're planting the seed with Fernando to say, shift. This graphic designing is only what, Fernando, would you say 1/4 of the message? I mean, really and truly, the marketing
Yeah.
is 2/3 of the message and how they have new business. These dentists, some of them have so much overhead, they're dying on the vine. And I know why, because they're not marketing.
Mhm.
They're just putting a message on a graphic design website. They're not marketing. And then they have social media. They don't know what it is. They sort of heard about it, and they can really be taken advantage of by some of these graphic designers saying they know marketing when you know they don't. So let's
Yeah,
get you out there, consultation. Can they do, how would they go about, how would a dental office go about hiring you?
So I always start with free consultations, and there's different buttons on my website where you can go ahead and book that consultation. It's xenoleads.com. That's XENO leads.com. And on there, people could learn about lead generation, appointment booking. So that's where I generate the leads. I qualify the leads, but I also book them on the calendars. And I mean, if people want, they can even go to that free school community and learn marketing for free, at least to run their ad campaigns. That's actually where how we met. And
That's
what's
right.
funny is I remember our first call. One of the questions you asked me was, "So how did you find me?" But really, it was you that found me. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, a lot of stuff I don't really promote on my website again because I'm really focusing people onto those specific services, right? But when I get them onto the consultation, that's when discussions about social media and the website and everything else happen.
I think the question I asked you in that school was, how do you get the message of science into marketing or something similar
Oh
to that?
yes, it was like how did I go from science to marketing? There was
Yeah,
something, and then I thought you were talking about me. I'm like, wait, how did I don't remember what it was.
but yeah, the message was science. How do you get science to make it fun? How do you get science to be fun in marketing? And because I do sell a product called Safe Kiss, and we're talking about this now, and it's and also an all natural product, Proganics all natural prophy paste, and it's been a pushback, and Shirley will say this, when we want to take the message in a marketing, with marketing message in a science environment, and there's pushback of change. And so, but I think the younger generation, they're kind of stuck. They've got their school debt to pay back, and then they need to market. But they need to market coming right out of school. And that's where I think, Fernando, they need to budget you in your company or whatever at the very beginning, not wait, because this is a platform for the rest of their life in an environment. Do they want to be stressed out, worried about how they're going to make their bill payments overhead and have tension in the office versus have a flow of business services that people are knocking on their door and they can't wait to come in to get, right?
Yeah, and then that's what every business owner wants.
Exactly. There you go. So could you repeat your site again where people can locate and find you and
Yeah.
have a consultation? Yes.
It's xenoleads.com, xenoleads.com. And
Great.
yeah, that's where people will be able to find me, learn more about the company, and book a free consultation. Yes, the consultations are free, and a lot of times they go longer than we set the time for. And we've had a few consultations, right, Victoria? And I
Yes.
think they've been pretty good so far.
Absolutely. I've been working with now Fernando a few weeks, and I've never, I'll give a testimony, had anyone so thorough about my homework assignments and creating my own videos and my own, scripts. And it's all new to me, but what it's taught me is that I'm the social being that needs to get the message out. Just like what Shirley and I, you said it's our duty. And I
Yeah.
kept, maybe I could publish an article, but who's going to read it? I could write, some kind of a message on who knows what. But what we have to do is become more social creatures and on the media, on the platform of the tools that we have, and have personalities is,
Mm.
with our um, platforms. And that's where I think surely Dr. Cameron he's got a personality. They were threatened by his personality.
Yes, for
Well,
sure.
here's the thing is every business has their personality, right, Fernando? And so that's where we need to go towards is personalities attract certain types of personalities for businesses and also services. So Fernando is offering a service that we are working with, and I absolutely love it, and I see progress in short amount of time already. My understanding
Yay.
of my responsibility for marketing. So thank you,
Yeah.
Fernando.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing too, right? Is I told you this is like that's the only catch with doing the free consultations is that I'll give you homework, but the only catch is that you have to do the homework to continue getting the consultations.
Yes, yes, and it's very thorough. It's very clear. There's no mixed message about what the homework is, and in my generation, it's a little bit threatening to go into this area because I'm not familiar with it or comfortable. But once you get past that, and Fernando does hold your hand through it, and he's very good about not criticizing or saying, no, no, no. He's very supportive and saying, that's good. Let's try this angle, And because what you'll find, Fernando, in the science community is we love We love to brain dump. Okay.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
And we won't tell you, just a couple sentences. We'll give you 3 pages.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Fernando,
experienced that part firsthand.
yeah, yeah. So what Fernando's going to be great about in the dental industry, I can see this already, is same message, just simplify it so that we have more business. And that's it, you
Yeah,
know?
and I don't know if I ever mentioned it to you before, but I actually was uh, a dental assistant for a short amount of time.
Oh boy.
No, no, I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
not
yeah.
know
So,
that.
it was for a little over a year. I went to like this dental assisting institute. I got the regular certifications I needed,
Wow.
and then from there, while I was still in the program, they allowed me to work at a dental office, general, for a few months, and then after that, I went into ortho, and that's where I was at for a little over a year, maybe. Yeah. So I have a
Oh
little bit of
fun.
experience. It has been a while though.
Yeah. So,
Well,
do we have enough time to just spend a couple of minutes on AI, or do you have to go?
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm just, I just have the one question, and let me see, does this help at all?
oh, way better.
All
Yes.
right. I don't know why nothing seems to want to work with any of my computers. I've been like in this computer HE double hockey sticks for a week and a half now, and I'm ready to just, I don't know, sit in the tavern and just call it a day. Okay, so is there a best way to use AI in marketing? And is it important for us to help our patients understand the difference between AI generated content and real content? Because you can really make a lot of things look fantastic
hmm
using AI, and it's unrealistic. So there's that. So just kind of right there, just my one little question.
Okay, so right and wrong way of using AI. Well, I actually use AI for a lot of what I do in marketing. I use it for messaging, for incoming calls, incoming text messages. Like I have AI bots that have really, really sophisticated responses. And once you train them with enough data, and it can go all the way through pre-qualifying and booking them too, just with AI. So that's been super helpful. Now, it sounds like you're talking about content though, right? Like videos and pictures and stuff like that. I have also made some AI generated videos that I use for ads that look really, really good, and nobody could tell that it was made by AI. Now, I think it depends where you're going to disclose if it's AI or not. For me, like if I'm doing it with hardscapers and I'm making like a story, right? A story like video, I don't think it's very necessary to disclose that it's AI. But if it's something that has to do with your health, for example, I think it's going to be very important to disclose it. Now, of course, you can make AI videos where it goes in through your bloodstream and you see these blood cells and everything like that. Well, at that point, I'm sure you could get away with using AI. But if it's something like maybe
Straightening teeth.
the results of your teeth, yeah, 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 exactly. Maybe at that point you would want to disclose that it's AI. Um, and another way it's coming to mind now because again, it's getting really good what you can do with AI video. You can create stories with these videos for dental offices. I think that's one thing that I don't think I've ever seen in dentistry from any ads. The ads, it's always about being in the dentist chair or working with the dentist and getting your teeth cleaned. Well, what I've seen is that storytelling is very, very powerful. Like, for example, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but frogs. Frogs are coming to mind, right? Like you can have a family of frogs just talking amongst each other or hopping again amongst each other, going home and talking about brushing their teeth or showing them brushing their teeth. And they don't have teeth, but the point is you can be as ridiculous as you can be as long as you tell a story with whatever you're doing. And I think AI in dentistry can be really, really good for that.
And
Super.
that would be the message about how the jaw joint is connected with the hip joint. And put a story there, Shirley,
Yep.
and make it wow, like, he was saying, it's all connected.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Crazy.
Yes, and I mean, and you can do it with anything, and especially for this, that's a good thing about the small brands. I believe it was Alex Ramosi who I heard this from, and if you guys haven't heard of him, you can learn a lot about business and marketing from him. Um, anyway, it's
His name is what again?
Alex Hormozi,
Alex Ramosi. Okay.
Hormozi. Yeah, he was the one that said it's so when in marketing, you don't want to necessarily um sell the process of travel. You want to sell travel itself, the destination itself, right? Because you don't want to tell. So from what I remember, what him talking about, he said something along the lines of, you don't want to tell people that, yeah, you're gonna go into this building, you're gonna have to wait for hours just for them to take your luggage, and you're gonna have to wait a few more hours for them to even board you on the plane. Then you're gonna have to sit on this locked cabin for 10 hours next to crying kids and sneezing people. And then, you're gonna have to wait another 5 hours. You're gonna be exhausted by this time, and then you're gonna get there. You want to tell them it's just selling that vacation. It's like you're gonna get there and you're gonna have a beautiful view from your hotel. You're gonna be able to go to the beach and you're gonna be able to go through all these fun, exciting activities, type of thing, right? It's like that vacation or the process.
We don't all need to know how the sausage is made, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's exactly the point there.
All right. That was my only question that I had for you today.
Okay.
Victoria always does such a good job with all these questions and pulling
Yeah.
things out of people.
Yeah, she had me really busy. Oh, but since we were on the subject of AI, I can always show you guys the one of the videos if you'd like. So see if you guys can pick up.
Sure.
Okay. So I found it here. Am I able to screen share?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Are you guys able to see that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And let me know right away if you have audio on this. And you guys have audio? No audio?
Not yet.
No. Yeah, there should be audio.
There's that other way.
Oh,
of
here we go.
screen sharing
I
now.
I got it. Share sound. How about now?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
This town, it was once forgotten, left to crack and crumble. Till one man rode in and changed the way we lay our roots. No shortcuts, no quit, just stone, grit, and good hands. They didn't just fix a road, they forged a legacy, strong, timeless, built to last. This land's got a new law, and it's paved in stone.
So that was all created by AI. And you
Wow.
can tell it looks pretty good. And
Yeah.
it's kind of Western, right? So it's not like we live in a Western world or anything, but I'm using that theme to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been converting pretty well lately.
Oh, nice. No, it's really sweet.
Yeah.
And short.
job.
Yeah. And AI did that, meaning AI did the videoing or pulled the.
Yeah, I mean, I use AI to generate the pieces and everything. Then I put it all together, put sound on it, put effects on it, and I did the voiceover. That's what I did do, but everything else was done by AI.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see if you guys implement something like that in dentistry. That'd be exciting.
Oh, that's what we need. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you so much. This is exactly what we need. Really, we can talk about science all day long till we're blue in the face, but until we
Yeah.
have a way to sell what we have, it's going to be dormant, or there'll be pushback, or there'll be not now,
Mhm.
when it should be now because they need the business.
Yeah, really simplify and make it an engaging message, and I think it can do very well, very well.
Thank you so much, Fernando. This has been fun and very enlightening. I wrote down a whole page of notes.
Oh, no way. Awesome. Well, I'm glad I was able to help you out with some notes.
Thank you again
All right.
for clearing your schedule to help us out today. Thank you
Yeah,
so
of course. Well, thank you guys for having me. All right. Take care, guys.
much. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. It's always fun to talk with somebody about marketing, and especially, when he first came on, I was like, is he 12? But to talk to somebody that's young and exciting, and he seems to be really with it, just the thought of converting this marketing idea to being our responsibility to helping people understand what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. And that was great.
Our duty, he said.
Yep, our responsibility.
Our
That's job.
responsibility. So, well, we're working on it little by little, and we'll have Fernando help us create the story to get the message out there and pave the way, right?
Exactly. And it's the responsibility of our audience members to like and subscribe and to pass these videos on to their patients, to their other providers, to share this information that we're putting together for you to give you a new perspective and work your way up that stream. There's just no other way to say it. Prevention starts at the beginning, and we can prevent things along the way, but until you get to the root cause of the problem. And if for marketing, the root cause of the problem is, like you said, brain dump of strep mutans versus T denticola versus blah blah blah, and then and all of that kind of stuff, and floss till you die, or floss or die, or whatever the heck they were yammering about for a while, and just keep going upstream to give a better story about what is happening. So thank you so much, Victoria, for finding another really engaging guest.
Yeah, and I want to just mention my drlinks.com, where they can find our podcasts. I've been asked many times where to go. We're posting it on drlinks, drlinxs.com/science in the page of science. Once again, science for the
Science.
professional science. And our discussions are all listed there from the very beginning to our last one today.
Excellent. They're on YouTube as well and on Rumble, and I can't tell you more than that. But if you can find them on drlinks.com, that would be the slickest place. So good job. I'm going to turn us off of YouTube.